I think our first meeting of this was over 2 years ago at this point. Like, it was a long friggin' time ago. And I kind of like proposed to them, that we approach, because it's like the constant sort of thing that you always hear symphonies asking is how do you get the kids out? And, oftentimes they're looking for certain kind of like collaborations that, are not particularly appealing. I believe that there's like already an audience and already the music that exists that you could program at a new music festival and it wouldn't sound out of place. The first thing is that I maintain a commitment to as diverse programming as possible, including as many racialized composers and female composers. I know that the New Creations Festival last year, skewed almost entirely male, and I, was hoping that we could open that up this year because I think that it's, that's the only responsible thing that you can do as a curator. Secondly, because it was the coinciding with the sesquicentennial, Canadian sesquicentennial, to me I felt it was really important that we have a lot of representation from the First Nations community, both as composers and performers. And so we did our best to get those people involved. I think that, Canada as a country continues to be a very present tense thing that requires a lot of criticality to survive and will always be in a state of flux and always be in a state of change. I think that it's the role of artists to try and do their best to be on the right side of this critical expression. Cool. Songs from an Island is actually was not the piece that I was intending to write for the festival, but it ended up being the piece that I submitted. It was a larger orchestral piece that I've been working on for a period of time that's like a 70 to 80 minute song cycle. It's like about 3/4 finished at this point. I had initially had this idea about something else that I wanted to write for Oakledge, and that was like the specific kind of oratorio sort of style thing. But originally the text that I had for this oratorio was actually going to be an oratorio with multiple voices and stuff like this. And as I was putting the piece together, I was finding myself kind of not happy with how it was going. Songs from an Island is a little less in the quote-unquote new music genre and kind of a little bit more eclectic stylistically. And I didn't think that would initially fit within the, the Gary Kalesha definition of what is new music. So I was trying to create a piece that was kind of like for the symphony and for Gary and stuff like this. But eventually when the piece wasn't coming together, I said, I can do what I want. And so I submitted this piece. It comes in waves. I wanted to do more film scoring because the money is just so good. And, if you get your name on 20 films and 10 of them are successful, then you can, start paying that mortgage. But, I've actually had a pretty unlucky year in that regard, and I was in LA working on some film scoring stuff, but a lot of it either came to a close or didn't pan out or something like that. So now I'm kind of like plunging, feeling much more at home working on my own music, my own private practice again.
So you feel like you're in it to win it now? Like this is it? This is what you're
I don't know. I grapple with it all the time. Yeah. There was a period a couple of years ago where I was just kind of like, I think I want to start a restaurant, and I just spent 2 days working in a kitchen, and I was like, okay, this isn't for me either.
All right.
So
you tried.
Yeah, the food was good though.
Right.
I mean, everybody has a different attitude about this sort of stuff. I would encounter with composers in various different institutions who I find would get involved in kind of like stuff that I disagreed with. I don't believe that it's like worthwhile to consider your work within the sort of like larger history of any sort of arc of music. I don't think it's healthy for a band like Man Man, for example, to talk about how they're the descendants of Frank Zappa, or of like it's just not useful. It's not healthy. I don't think placing oneself within a larger musical history is like of benefit to anyone's creative impulse. On top of this, I don't think that I think that the idea about serious music is one that is inherently conservative. It's about the idea that pursuit of some kind of like quote unquote modernist language makes someone's music more or less important. It was really fun when Boulez was like espousing these theories, saying like this is the only thing is to make music that's destructive. It's like super punk and fun, but ultimately I'm sure even he realizes that it's like extremely exclusionary and classist and does not favor society as a whole. Sorry.
Yeah.
Fadene, tu disposta in me.